friends, my name is Kristin. You are joining me and Kick It 55 Fitness for 30 minutes of yoga for athletes. And today we're going to get deep down into those hips, those hip flexors. We're going to take it slow. I am cueing a lot with blocks, so grab them if you have them or something similar that can support you. You don't have to use them if you don't like them, but I will be cueing quite a bit and it can help you get deeper into those postures. Don't forget to follow us and push on that notification button so every time a new workout drops, you get notified. Now let's get started. Okay, let's get started on our backs. Come down onto your mat. We're going to start in Supta Baddha Konasana, or a reclining butterfly. And I just want you to bring the soles of your feet together and then walk yourself down. Just a nice place to tap in to our presence on the mat. Also take a moment to open up through those inner thighs. So let those knees come outward. Let the curve of your low back fall naturally. I don't want you to press down. I just want you to lay naturally, and maybe you bring your arms out to the side. And we'll take a few breaths here. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale out. Another deep breath, filling up, filling that belly and feeling your rib cage expand. Maybe you tee your arms out, taking these moments to tap into your intention and also into your presence on your mat. This is a gift of time here that you've set aside for yourself. One more nice big breath in. And a big breath out. Beautiful. Okay, we are going to start on our backs now. So draw those knees back together as if you're closing up a book. I'm going to grab a block and show you our first exercise. We're going into bridge pose. You can do supported bridge with a block, or you can do it without. So I want you to come back down. We're still on our backs. This time I do want you to press your low back into the ground. Press the soles of your feet down. They're stacking right under your knees. And you can bring that block underneath you and set it right on your, kind of right on your tailbone to support you here. This would be your supported bridge. What we're trying to do is get into these hip flexors. We're trying to lengthen here. So this is your supported bridge. You can bring your arms down at your side, table through your shoulders, and just spend some time here breathing. Now, if you don't want to use the block, you can press down through your hands and lift up. And now you're using a little more strength through your glutes. You'll feel it through your quads. And press the earth away with your upper arm bones all the way down through your hands. Press your hands into the mat, pressing into all four corners of your feet as you lift your hips up. Again, we're trying, we sit all day, and so our hip flexor muscles get really short. So this is a way that we can lengthen right here. And we'll take some breaths here. Whatever, supported, not supported, we'll meet here in our bridge. And inhale. And exhale out. Take a few more breaths. And this is a strengthening pose as well. So if you're not using a block and you want to take a little break, you come down, you kind of rock it out, and then we take it back up. Now, you can also draw your hands to meet you under your back, weave your fingers together, and then pull those knit fingers down as if you're trying to reach for your heels. Inhale again here, lifting up through the hips to get into those hip flexors, extending them here. Inhale. And exhale out. And let's lower down. We'll take it one more. Take a minute to breathe, maybe rock out through your hips. And we'll take one more of our bridge poses. Again, if you're using that block, you're sliding it right underneath, right to your tailbone, and you're supported here. Maybe you've been supported and now you want to lift it up, so go for that. Whatever your form, press into all four corners of your feet and lift. Find that extension through your hips. Inhale here. And to exhale out. and then come all the way down and just relax. Take your feet wide on the mat. Move that block out of the way if it's in the way, and just tick-tock, bringing one knee in and then the other. Kind of, you might hear the term windshield wiping. And now, friends, if you like to add on a little layer with your breath, you might add that ujjayi breath through the rest of our practice. So you'll breathe in and then seal your lips and send that breath back out with a slight constriction through the back of your throat and sending it out. I'll add a little heat to your practice. It's also something nice to focus on. Okay, team, we're going to roll our way up. So maybe you tip to one side or the other. Find your way up, and we are going to meet in Malasana. So we're going to come into what's called a yogi squat, Malasana. Now I'm going to show you with the block to support you, and then I will show you without. So I want you first to have your feet kind of positioned under your hips, your heels in, your toes out a little bit. And then you bring your hips down and lift up through your torso. Now this is where you can bring that block underneath you, and you can set your booty down right here. And this is an amazing inner thigh stretch, right? You are also getting into that low back because we're going to take our elbows, press it into our inner knee area, or right above. You never want to press right onto the joint. And then bring your palms together as if you're in prayer here, and find that inner thigh stretch. Okay, team? So this is a supported Malasana or yogi stretch using your block. Once you arrive, press into your hands, using your elbows to push your knees open, finding that inner thigh stretch, and we take a nice big breath in. And a full exhale. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you lose that block. Again, the tail comes down, but you're toned. You're using your muscles. You're not just dumping down. So you're toned here. But it takes a little more strength, right? And the goal here, yogis, is to drop your sit bones down, lift up through your shoulders, and then press. That friction between your knees and your elbows, pressing open to get into those inner thighs. Also feeling it, a nice, good low back stretch. Let's take a big breath in here. And exhale out. And we'll take about 2 more breaths here. Holding the pose, feeling the benefits, taking it nice and slow. Inhale. And exhale. If you're using that ujjayi breath, you're exhaling through your nose, that slight constriction in the back of your throat. One more time. Inhale here. And exhale out. Nice hip opener there. Okay, team, let's come down onto our hands, and then we'll meet in a tabletop. So just bring yourself onto all fours. You're going to have your hips right over your knees, your shoulders right over your wrists, and I want you to use the tone of your belly to support your low back. Think about keeping your neck nice and long, and we'll get into that low back a little more and warm up the spine with a few cat-cows. Always cat-cows. They feel good. You should do them every day. So inhale here. Sink the belly. Lift through your crown and your tail, creating kind of that C or that U shape with your body. And as you do, you open through the collarbone, sliding the shoulder blades back. Remember to press into the earth, breathing in here for cow. And then on the exhale, you push the earth away and drop your head, drop your tail, rounding through the spine. And really, folks, press that mat away to get a deep, deep flexion here. And then we take a few more. Inhale for cow. And exhale, dropping your head and your tail. Let's take 2 more here. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And one more time. Breathing in. and exhaling out. Okay, now take your blocks. We're going to use them to support ourselves as we come into our kneeling warrior or Anjaneyasana. So just have your blocks in front of you. I'm taking down dogs out of the equation today. If you like to work with a down dog, go ahead and pop yourself up there. If we are simply just working those hips and staying low to the ground, I want you to take your left leg forward. I've got my hands on the blocks to support me. My left leg comes forward and I bend, bringing my knee right over the ankle. The top of my right foot is flat. I'm using the blocks to support me here, and I'm working to keep my hips squared. So there's a tendency to open up here and turn open. So you want to, it might help you to even scooch that left leg over on the mat a little bit. And then fire up. I like to use that right glute to support me. Keep the hips squared, and then find that stretch. We're getting into that right hip flexor again. We're strengthening and stretching it, kind of counteracting all of that sitting where we bend, and it has that tendency to shorten here. And I am happy. Let's add on any other arm movements. Bring your arms up. If you do, keep the shoulders down. This kind of forces you to use your core right here. Inhale. And exhale, bring your hands through heart center. I was going to say I'm happy for you at home to use any arm variation you want here. Breathe in again. Take this and run with it. This time, maybe we take a baby back bend. Exhale, take your arms and goal post them. And open up through your collarbones. Feel that nice stretch through your chest, through your pecs. Also, we're just spending a lot of time on this right hip flexor. Inhale here, exhaling here. And one more time, let's take our arms up. And your choice, either hands through heart center, goal post and find that baby back bend, whatever works. And then bring your hands back down to the blocks. Now let's take a counter stretch and get into that left hamstring. Those are often very tight too. So I'm using the blocks. I'm going to move back with them, shifting my hips back, supporting myself here. And of course, if you don't like blocks and you'd like to challenge yourself, bring your arms off. But walk your hands back and find length in that left leg. I like to flex through my foot and push into my heel and find a stretch through the hamstring and the calf of your left leg. Feels really good. You can sit your sit bones all the way down. You can hinge at your hips and really get deep into this. Or maybe you're right about here. Whatever your range of motion is, that's fine. Take a big breath in here. And exhale out. If it helps, you can curl the back toe of your right foot to support you a little more. Take one more breath in. And exhale it out. Okay, we're not quite done on this side. Keep that left leg forward. Bring your blocks all the way to the top of the mat. We still have that right leg extended. We're still getting into that right hip flexor. I'm going to stack my blocks just to the right of my left foot. And then hinging at my hips, I'm going to bring my forearms down here. Take your left foot, slide it to the outer edge of your mat, and get a nice deeper stretch here. Now, this is your lizard lunge. Lots of variations here. Of course, you can start to remove blocks and come lower. This can be a very deep hip opener. You can remove your blocks and come even lower. I'm giving you time here. You play with it at home. Now, the other thing is I have my right knee down. You are always welcome to curl the toe under, lift that leg up, press back through your heel, and get a nice stretch there too. And then again, you can come down to forearms or blocks. Whatever works for you here. Maybe you're up here. But let's just hang on to our deepest end of our stretch here and breathe into it. So inhale and exhale out. And at home, who's to say that you don't work into different aspects of, the variations I've shown as we spend time here? You're warming up the muscle, you're opening up that hip. So maybe if you started high on your blocks, you start to come down and lower those blocks. Let's take another big breath. And exhale out. And one more. Maybe see if you can take yourself to a new edge for this last breath. Inhale. And exhale out. Nice. And then come back up onto your hands. Take that left foot back behind you. Come back into your table and just shake it out. Let's send our hips back over our heels and just come long. In fact, let's find a child's pose. So bringing your big toes to touch, open through your knees. The wider you open your knees, the more inner thigh stretch you'll get. And then hinging here at your torso. Come on down. Find length through your spine. Maybe you bring your forehead down and just surrender your torso down. This is a nice inner thigh stretch as well. Breathe in. And exhale out. Let your torso just melt down. Again, the wider you take your knees, the more you get into those hips. Take one more breath here, yogis, and then we're going to take this whole show on the other side. Exhale out. Meet me back up in that tabletop. So just set yourself up in tabletop, stacking. I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to keep my blocks up at the top of the mat, ready to support myself. Starting in that tabletop, let's take one good cat-cow here. Inhale. And exhale out. Nice. Okay. And now this time I'm going to scooch that right leg forward. I'm going to use my blocks to support myself, and we're going to come into that kneeling warrior. So again, the knee is tracking right over the ankle on the right foot, which is forward. Your hips are nice and squared. Your left leg is back and long, and you're getting that stretch into that left hip flexor. You can use your blocks or whatever you're using to support yourself at any angle you want, or maybe you don't use blocks. And we'll just take a moment here, a few breaths. We can add those arm movements, breathing in, reaching those arms nice and high. Keep the shoulders low, tone through the belly. Inhale here. And exhale, baby back bend. Use your glutes to support your low back as well. Inhale, rise through your arms. Come back, hands through heart center. Make adjustments as you see fit. Maybe you're still about here and you're starting to feel some lengthening. Start to work into it. Take it to your depth. Take another breath in. Maybe you're holding on to those blocks. If you like that arm variation, reach it up. And exhale, baby back bend. Inhale, lift through the arms again. And let's bring those hands to our blocks. Nice. And now let's get that nice hamstring and calf stretch through that right leg. So we're going to start to bend through our hips, send our sit bones back toward the heel, straightening through that right leg. I like to flex my toe, dig in with the heel, and lots of variations here. You can use your blocks. Maybe you're here. You can bring your sit bones all the way down and start to fold through the hips, looking for a stretch through the back side of the right leg. So any variation here that feels good to you. It's all about stretching and feeling good. Breathe in. And exhale out. We're going to take this into that more intense lizard lunge. Let's take one more breath here. Breathe in. And exhale out. Nice, team. Okay, now Let's bring that ourselves forward back into our kneeling warrior. We're back here again. We're going to set up for that lizard lunge. So take your right leg to the outer edge of your mat. Just scooch it over. Start with your blocks. You know, unless you're super flexible and you just want to come all the way down. But start with your variation. So bring your forearms to your stacked blocks. That right foot is at the outer edge of the mat, so you can really get into the hip flexor. And we're here. You can curl the back toe of your left foot, lift the knee up, press back through the heel. You'll find a nice stretch there too. Or you can leave it nice, you know, knee down. But let's take a breath here. And an exhale out. We're going to stay here for a few breaths, so play with your variation. And I advise you to push yourself a little bit to your edge. So as we stay in this pose, you start to warm the muscles up. You start to feel a little more flexible. So test yourself. Take yourself to your edge, but not to the point where it's really painful. So I'm losing a block. I'm going to come down a little bit further and breathe in. I like to lift my knee up a little bit. And exhale out. Let's take one more big breath here. Take it to your final edge. I'm going to come down to my forearms. Inhale here. And exhale out. Drop that knee. Come back to your hands. Send your right knee back so you're back in your table. Bring your big toes to touch. Open up through your knees. Send the sit bones back. Find that child's pose. Coming back to that child's pose is cooling. It's nice to bring your forehead down to tap into your senses and just take a full body scan. Maybe you rock yourself hip to hip. Find length from the crown of your head to the tip of your tail, moving in opposite directions. Take a big breath in here. Feel the backside of your rib cage expand. And exhale out. Okay, bring your hands in line with your nose. Pop yourself back up. We got a couple of other moves in front of us here. Next, we're going to go into a froggy pose or Mandukasana. This is a little more advanced. Again, the blocks are there for you. What we're going to do is take your knees out. We're on our knees, so get yourself on your mat. But this time, instead of our toes touching, I want you to take your toes out to face the outer walls. And then walk your ankles out so they're wider than your knees, okay? You're supported on your hands here. Play with the depth of how wide you can get your legs. So these are your froggy legs, okay? Now, set those sit bones and push them back toward the back wall as you come down to your forearms and feel that stretch. So we're pushing our sit bones back, getting a really super duper good inner thigh stretch. Another place you can use your blocks. You know, and you know, your range of motion may be different. Play with this. But once you find that spot, find your edge, come to it, and we'll hold. And we'll hold for 3 breaths. Breathe in. And exhale out. Playing with that Ujjayi breath or any breath work that is serving you right now. Maybe you find you can wiggle into a deeper range of motion for our second breath. Again, we're pushing those sit bones back. You should feel this in your inner thighs. I do. Inhale here. And exhale out. Let's take one more big breath in. And exhale here. And then carefully bring yourself back forward, kind of toe knee yourself back into a tabletop. We're going to come down to our backs. We have One more move. We're going to get into our outer hips to end things. We've done a lot. Inner hips, hip flexors. Come onto your back. All the way down where we started. This time we're going to take a supine figure 4. So we're on our backs. Press your low back down. And now keep your right foot planted and take the outer edge of your left foot onto your right thigh, creating that figure 4, shape here. Okay. Now, everyone's hip socket anatomy is a little deeper. I like to say some people have deeper cups where the femur bone sits in there. Some people have a really good ability to open up through their hips here. For some, this is tighter. I have tight hip flexors. So take your hands, bring them behind your right leg, the hamstring, and clasp it here. Now, you can lift this right leg up toward the ceiling, maybe circle out your ankle. You can keep the leg bent, but just find that stretch here. And we'll breathe into it. Take a big breath in. And a big exhale out. One more breath, playing with any variation with that right leg. Maybe you lift it and circle out through the ankle. Perhaps you keep it planted. Play with your range of motion. Maybe there's a little rock here, but getting into that stretch. Inhale here. And exhale out. Now, before we leave this shape, we're going to take this left leg and fully cross it. So now we're crossed at the thighs, okay? Tee your arms out to the sides, and then gently, using your core to support you, start to lower these crossed legs, or in yoga, your eagle legs. Lower the knees toward the right side of the room. You might want to bump your hips over a little bit and find a little supine twist here. Twisting is always so good for your spine. But the other reason we're doing this, we're getting into that outer hip. We've gotten into the hip flexor, deep into the inner thighs. Let's find a little stretch through the outer hip here. This is a wonderful place for a block. You can bring it here to support that right knee, which is crossed over, and that right knee is helping bring gravity. It's helping to pull the legs down and open up through that hip. Breathe in here. And exhale out. Work to table through your shoulders to get a deeper twist. Being very mindful of how this feels in your body. It should feel like a nice, good stretch. Let's take one more big breath in. And a full breath out. And then carefully rise. Let's unravel our legs, bring both knees in, and give them a little squeeze just to kind of neutralize through the spine, maybe a little rock and roll here. And then we'll take it to the other side to finish up. So we bring the left foot down, the outer edge of the right foot comes onto the thigh. Find that figure 4. Find what you need here with your range of motion. Maybe this is it for you. Otherwise, bring your hands behind that left hamstring. Clasp your fingers together and play with what you want to do here. Maybe you want to lift that left leg, circle out through your ankle. You could always take the forearm of your right hand and gently kind of press into the 4 of your figure 4 to get a deeper stretch here. And breathe. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. Inhale. And exhale out. One more breath here, yogis, and then we'll take that twist. I can't talk. Inhale. And exhale out. Now bring that left foot down again. If you had it up in the air, take that right leg, fully cross it over. So you're crossed at the thighs, right? Tee your arms out and then kind of bump your hips to the right side of the mat to bring your knees toward the left side of the room. Find your supine twist with those eagle crossed legs. So that right leg is crisscrossed on the top. And again, a block comes in handy here if you want to put that under your knee to support you so you can relax here and just get the benefits of the stretch in your outer hip area. Take a big breath in. And an exhale out. One more breath here. And exhale. And then gently come back to center, unravel your legs, draw both of your knees in, wrap your arms around your shins, and find a nice low back stretch here. Maybe you want to rock it side to side. And then for our final asana, our final posture today, we'll take it to that happy baby. So stamp the soles of your feet as if you're trying to meet the ceiling. Keep your knees toward your armpits. Bring your hands to the outer edges of your feet, your calves, your thighs, whatever feels good for you here, but draw the knees down. Keep your tailbone down. Maybe rock it out side to side, feeling a nice stretch through your low back, into your hips. Any additional wiggles, movements you want here. You can stay in your happy baby as long as you like, and when you are ready, you bring everything down and take up space on your mat for your final Shavasana. And this is where I will leave you today. I hope you take a few minutes, so spread out on your mat, close your eyes, let yourself just sink into the mat and feel the benefits of today's practice. Hey, where are you going? There are more videos, so check us out. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll see you on your mat.
Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on push notifications so you know when our next workout posts.